Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dave here with Go Gamers, and today we're going to be looking at this PS4 Fat that's having Bluetooth connection issues with Wi-Fi and controllers. So let's go ahead and set it down and see what's going on. So we have it right here. I'm gonna put the camera right over here. So I have no idea what's going on. I'm gonna plug it up. This is my first time hooking it up. So I'm gonna reach behind here, stand up. So there's going to be a couple ways to diagnose this. The way they worded it made it seem like maybe the controllers are connected sometimes, maybe they're not connected sometimes, maybe they're losing signal. So there's a couple things that could go wrong with these PS4s when it's not connected to Wi-Fi or it's not connected to controller. The worst thing that could happen is the actual Bluetooth module needs to be replaced on the motherboard, and that takes you taking a heat wand to it, actually heating it up, desoldering off the board, and then replacing it off a donor motherboard. So that could be the most hellish experience, but it's definitely doable. Or it could be something as easy as the actual antenna on the board that sends out the signal to the Wi-Fi and also sends out the signal to the controllers. So we're going to double check. The least common problem that I forgot to mention, it could also be the USB 3.0, which is how it functions. So if the USB 3.0 IC on the motherboard is shot out, there's a way to be able to figure that out. What you would have to do is you would have to hold the power button until you hear a second beep. It will go into safe mode. If these controllers don't connect in safe mode, that means that it is your USB 3.0. If it does connect in safe mode, but it doesn't connect in, when you just got the PS4 started up, then that means it is your Bluetooth module. But if it works all the time when it's connected, or if the controller works while it's close to the console, or if it loses signal when it's far away, that is the Wi-Fi antenna. So let's go ahead and actually swap over to this other HDMI. All right, so I just powered the console on. I got the controller hooked in USB. And the reason why, if the Bluetooth module, and the reason why, if your Bluetooth module is messed up while it will work in safe mode, is because in safe mode, the console doesn't utilize Bluetooth at all. While it's actually on regular, the console fully utilizes Bluetooth. So even if you have your controller connected, it is actually realistically still connected to your console wirelessly. So if you are having a Bluetooth module issue, to be completely honest with you, if you go out and you go get a wired PS4 controller, it will work, because wired PS4 controllers do not work off Bluetooth at all, depending on what kind of wireless controller you get. But nonetheless, let's figure out what's going on with this. Pressing my PS button is kind of hard to see, but it is just blinking the light blue, meaning that it is not detecting the controller. If it blinks light blue, goes orange for a quick second, and cuts back out, that is most definitely a Bluetooth module issue. So yeah, it blinks orange for a quick second, cuts back out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fully hold down the power button, turn off the console, boot it into safe mode, just to make 100% sure that it is actually that Bluetooth module. So we are in safe mode. I'm going to press that button. As you can see, it works and runs around just fine in safe mode. So that means it is definitely the Bluetooth module. Hate doing these, but it must be done. All right, so we got our PS4, and let's go ahead and get this thing open. And I'm going to be honest, you never know what you have until it's gone. That saying is so true. Now that I can't buy Lysol wipes from any store right now because of this pandemic, oh, it's just so terrible having to just buy substitute wipes like Armor All, and it'll just have like 10 wipes in there for like $10. So it's like $1 a wipe. It's expensive and it's hell, especially when you want to clean off like powder from my hands when you actually take off the gloves. It's hell. So let's get this thing, take it apart, get it down to that Bluetooth module, and see what we have going on. All right, so we have the board fully stripped down. We could go ahead and go back under our microscope and find that chip. So here is our Bluetooth module for this one. So we got the scope getting focused in right now. All right, perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my clamp this down onto the desk, and we're just gonna go ahead and just straight up just start getting this thing out of here. I'm gonna turn on my BGA suction cup. I'm gonna grab the flux. Let me tilt the camera a little bit. Okay, so throw that flux around there. And this is all the easy part so far. Putting it on there is going to be a lot of fun. So we shall see how that works out. But I will get my fume extractor turned on and close up to this chip. And let's get to work. We have the old chip off. Let me go ahead and move this chip with my suction. Don't want to touch it because it's hot. I'm going to actually let it sit on my suction for a little bit just to make sure all the fumes is off of it. All right, so I went on ahead and hooked up my Hacko, and we're going to allow this to take a couple seconds just to heat up. These heat up literally within seconds. These things are crazy good. We don't need too much heat on this one, so good thing about this Hacko, I don't need a fine tip because I'm waiting for my fine tips to come in from Amazon. Everything is delayed right now, unfortunately. So we're gonna take this. We're gonna take off the solder on this board and go back under the microscope. So we are ready to go. Let's pop a little bit of flux around these pads. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my toothbrush with some IPA on it. I took off a good chunk of that solder. I left on just a little bit just to make sure it can actually adhere onto these pads. Yeah, that shouldn't be too bad. This shouldn't be too bad. Let's see. Yeah, this shouldn't be too bad. Kind of hard to do it with that tip, but since I don't have the tips that I will usually use, gotta kind of work with what we have. So let's see. I just wanna make sure that's good. Take my cloth. Make sure this pad is fully dry. Alright, so before I even put flux and everything on there, I'm gonna put this chip on here to make sure that it will actually sit right. Let me find it. Alright, here it is. So there's little arrows. I, I think you can see like that little copper arrow. I'm gonna take my flathead. Right above that flathead, there's an arrow right there. But there's an arrow in every corner. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna line it up with those arrows. That's how we're gonna do it. So I'm just gonna make sure it can sit right on here to make sure we don't have to take down any more solder. And it looks good. So this is, like I said, this is the most tricky part because we have to not only flow this on here, but we have to flow it on here to a point where we don't get it to move. So we got to keep the heat wand down at a low rate. Gotta open up a thing, a new flux. All right, so we have flux fully applied to all pads. Then we're gonna take our crazy looking BGA chip and line it up at all points. Tedious task, but it at least has to be semi-perfect so it can flow on to every single pad correctly. If not, it will flow onto the wrong pad or cross solder can happen. So you definitely don't want none to be cross solder because then you'll have to start the process back over and redo some stuff. So you can see the chip is moving a little bit. Move it around just a tad bit, meaning that it's flowing to all the correct pads, as you can see. So that is a good sign so far, meaning that we at least have it lined up right. I see the chip starting to settle in. I'm just going to keep this heat on just for a tad bit longer. All right, so give it a couple seconds to fully melt. As you can tell, our ugly looking solder is no longer there. That's why I put on excess solder, because once you actually start to apply it, it starts to even itself out and flow into place. As you can see, we have a perfectly flowed chip, but really won't know until we can actually get the microscope under there and check it out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some IPA on my toothbrush, and we're gonna go ahead and clean around it and clean on top of the chip and everything. So gonna get this all clean, and I'm gonna have to put the microscope at an angle to make sure all points is fully on there before we move any further. See, the chip looks great now. All that excess solder has evened out. The chip, the top plate flowed into place. You can see everything looks to be right. You can see the corners are perfect from what we see. So let me get around there, make sure everything is clean, because we're going to need to get a real good view of this from an angle. So I got to make sure every single angle is cleaned. From what I can see, everything looks to be soldered. Everything looks to be even. That's the main thing that we look for is when we do these. We want to make sure everything is actually even, because anything uneven means more than likely the board isn't level correctly, so it won't hold that chip down. So you'll have to take it off, obviously redo that whole step again. Or also means it could be cross solder, too much solder left on there. So like I said, I'll always leave a little bit of solder on there just to make sure it can adhere, and we don't have to do too much extra stuff, because the other step you could do is actually put on the reflow machine. But I'm confident in myself not to have to do something like that. So let me put this in here. And now we got a motherboard, as you guys can see, with a new Bluetooth module. And what I'm going to go ahead and do, take off these gloves, and I am going to clean off just the chassis, clean off the case and everything, free it from a lot of this dust, and then I'm going to get this thing partially put back together so we can go ahead and test it and see if we have a working Bluetooth module now. All right, so I almost got to plug in my hard drive. So I went on ahead, I plugged it in, and I'm gonna go over here to the screen. Got the power cord in, got the video cord. So let's see if we can get some life out of this thing. And I'm actually gonna move my main cam out the way so you guys can get a better view. So when this pops up, that means that you tried to fire it up without the hard drive in it, which is exactly what I did. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click cancel. Once again, we got a brand new Bluetooth module inside the console. Everything pretty much went perfect. Everything is level. Everything seems great. So I'm hoping that we got this on there properly. And I actually hope that the Bluetooth module that I put on there actually works. Sometimes I'll get a donor board that won't work, but I'm not going to curse it this time because I did that before on a previous video. Yes, it works. It works. Let me test the range of this controller. Oh man, I was thinking, but I was thinking to myself, I really don't want to go through this process again and have to find another donor board, but no, it works. Everything. This is actually a super cool background. I like this background. So yeah, we got a brand new Bluetooth module on here. Now these people will be happy. So we're all good to go. I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of this back together. And looks like these customers will be happy. I'm going to clean everything up, put everything back together. But if you guys did find this video helpful, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button. If you guys want to see anything else like this, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel because we will be uploading daily content. If you guys want to see something specific on this channel, please make it down below in the comments. I've been repairing for years and years. I can do anything from Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, which that will be coming here soon. We'll be doing a ton of retro games, but I want to at least show you guys a lot of the modern stuff that I repair all day, every day on a daily basis. But besides that, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.